Our start time. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This meeting of online presenters has begun. Now, guests, please note that in order to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active Toastmasters International member and have completed at least 6 Toastmasters official speeches, or alternately, if you have substantial relevant presentation experience, you may apply for membership after demonstrating your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. Now, all requests for membership are subject to approval by the members of our club. If you've not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it reflects the number of roles that you're doing today. So your name and your role, right click and select rename to do so. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world. Thus, as a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Now, please note the meeting is being recorded and your video and audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. Also, remain muted when you're not speaking. Just to say that he has not done anything recently that we think he would be in need of forgiveness for. But since forgiveness is important, let's, with a forgiving heart, welcome our president, David Carr.
Right. Well, thank you, Jody. Let me hope that I will not give you cause to have to forgive me before the end of this meeting, or that by the end of the meeting, we're able to wipe the slate clean of my sins this time around. We did have an officers meeting a little bit earlier, and one of the things we talked about was trying to make sure that we reinforce the unique value proposition of this club, which is to be the place to learn techniques for presenting online. One of the things that we want to get back to doing is some occasional workshops. I have one I'm in the early stages of planning that would be on how to create a successful YouTube channel. So hopefully some of you would think that that would be a useful and worthwhile thing. Also, we do this thing called the tip of the day at the beginning of many of our meetings, and we're trying to build that up to be another sort of signature program that we run, that we give you a useful tip. It may be on use of tech and online presentation technique, or it could also be a leadership tip. But we're going to try and make that more consistent, that we're going to have that at every meeting. I'm doing the one today. You might have to forgive me for that, but I see that we have somebody signed up to do it next week. So we're going to keep trying to do it better and better. With that, let me hand off the meeting to our Toastmaster of the day, Andrei Smolenko.
Thank you very much, David. My fellow online presenters and guests, I'm your Toastmaster of the evening. And when I was trying to choose the theme for the evening, I just remembered the story that happened with me just a few months ago. I had a massive row with my girlfriend's son. He's a teenager, just 14, and I'm 42. And me and my girlfriend trying to build a more or less reasonable, adult-like relationship. And he just doesn't like me. He doesn't like anything I do. He's always trying to wind me up, just a typical teenager. And then one day, I just had enough. I just exploded and I told him where he belongs, how he needs to listen to me, and what he has to do. Needless to say, that my explosion almost cost me my relationship. For quite a few days, I was just really angry, walking around and thinking, how dare he talk to me like that? And then I came across just one interesting quote. And this quote by Princess Diana: when you are happy, you can forgive a great deal. When you are happy, you can forgive a great deal. So when I came to my girlfriend's week after, I thought, right, we are happy, we're having a great time. And that boy seemed to be happy as well. So I said, look, called him on his side. I said, please forgive me. The way I talked to you, I shouldn't have done it. And he went like, you know what? All right, fine. We're having a good time, so let's just forget about it. And that was a key. That was a clue to something that I thought will never happen. When we both were in the moments of joy, in the moments of happiness, and then when I asked for forgiveness, I received that. So my message to you, my fellow Toastmasters, perhaps next time when you feel you want to ask for forgiveness, wait for the right moment. When that moment comes, when you are both ready to let go all sadness, let go all anger and mistrust, then perhaps is the right moment to ask for forgiveness. Having that in mind, I need to run a meeting. And please forgive me if anything goes not according to the plan, but I enjoy the Toastmasters because we are the safe net, safety net, and there is nothing really we could do that we will not be forgiven for. So let's have an interesting and impactful evening, bearing that in mind. I'm not going to run this meeting by myself. I will have and I will introduce a number of helpers and a very, very important people who will help me to run this meeting smoothly. But before I do that, I would like to introduce our president, David Carr, who will be doing a tip of the day, a tech tip, something really special and unique, I believe, that we do in our club on a regular basis. And then I'll tell you what's going to happen next in our meeting. Take it away, David.
All right. Thank you, Andre. I wanted to take a moment to run through just a few of the tools that are available for helping to fill the agenda. Now, filling the agenda does require getting people to show up, which is sometimes a challenge. Because if they can't be here, they can't help. But just as an example, on our meeting, this is the current meeting's agenda. I think some of these things we might have filled just as we were warming up here. But this is the page that any member can go to. They log in and they can take a role. We do also keep track of people who can't be here. So there's a place to record that you have planned to be someplace else that meeting. And, partly that's there so that we don't bug people who actually have told us, no, I can't be there. We're not trying to get them to fill a role. But let me take a look at next meeting where we don't have things as fleshed out, although actually we're not in bad shape. We have a Toastmaster of the day already. We do have somebody signed up. Kritika will be giving our tip of the day. That's great. I'm down as timer. If I change my mind, I could click this button that says remove. But I will only do that because I'm signing up for another role, right? Because I want to make sure I sign up for a role for every meeting that I possibly can. Now, if I get an email from somebody, or maybe actually I hear that there's somebody who wants to come to our club and give a guest speech, I can come in here and I can choose any member to fill one of these roles because I've heard that they are available to fill that role. And there is also a place here where, as I did for this meeting, we found out that we had a guest speaker coming. I can put in the name of a guest and click add, and that would show up on our agenda. But a couple of things I really wanted to show you that not everybody knows exactly where to find them is there is also a tool for sending out the whole agenda by email. And so this would go out with the plan so far, and all these openings have a little link next to them that says one-click sign up. And it's one-click sign up because you can click on that link and get signed up without necessarily having to remember your password. I find that handy if I'm getting the message on my phone, for example. It may be awkward for me to type a password in on the phone or go through some rigmarole, but I can just click. So trying to make it easy for people to do the right thing. It comes, when you use that function, it comes up with a default subject line and a place for you to add a message. So I can say, we're in great shape, but we just need a few more people to fill in roles. I can send this out to all members. I can also send it to just the members who don't have a role currently, so that we're not nagging people too much when they've already stepped up. So that's a tool that is available to you. Also, along the bottom here, let's see, let me show you again where you find that. You go to agenda up top, there's a menu of items, and I can go to agenda email. And there's also a variation on it that says roles only. Or I can go down to the bottom here and I can go from sign up to edit. And then again, there's also this suggest mode where I can come in and I can see that Andy hasn't done this in a while, so maybe I'll nominate him for the role. And so Andy will get an email saying, I'm nominating you for a role. Go ahead and take this. So he can click once to attend to say that he'll take the role, or he can let us know that he actually won't be able to attend that particular meeting. There's more than that, but those are some of the ideas I've come up with to try and make it easier for us to fill our agenda. The tools only do so much. The people have to do the rest. Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, David. It was a really useful tip and excellent promo to the website. By the way, David is the gentleman who is responsible for running our website and developing that website and promoting websites to many Toastmaster online and offline clubs. Thank you. Right, and we're moving on to the meeting. What's going to happen today? First, traditional, we have prepared speeches. We have 3 excellent speakers today with my favorite icebreaker. I can't wait to hear our speaker with that. And we have a guest speaker as well. And we have a well-seasoned speaker as well, Andrew Bern, who will start. Then, after prepared speeches and the voting, we go into table topics session, impromptu speaking. Wonderful parts. Then evaluations. And after evaluations, we're going to have a nice wrap up. And please don't go away after the meeting is over. We still have a chat with the guest speakers and guests who are attending our meeting today. As you can see, full pack agenda. I'm not going to do all them things by myself, and I will need helpers' help. The first helper who is going to help me to run meetings smoothly is Timer, Graham Carnes. Please, Graham, tell us about your role, what you're going to do.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I will be timing all of the events. We time things in Toastmasters not because we are particularly fixated on time, but because if we spend too much time, we're stealing somebody else's. So everything that happens in Toastmasters is timed. Traditional speeches, for example, are 5, 6, and 7 minutes. So when you reach your minimum suggested time, behind me, the screen will go green. When you reach the middle of your suggested time, you will see the yellow. When you see the red, that means that you should have shut up by now because you have less than 30 seconds or you will be stealing somebody else's time. So that's in table topics, it'll be lights at 1, 1.5, and 2. In speeches, 5, 6, and 7. So you'll hear what we're doing, but that's how you'll see your timing being indicated. And I will put a report into the chat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Timer. And the next helper I'm going to call on is our contact, Johnny Laidlaw. Johnny, please tell us about your role and then explain what's going to happen.
As the counter, it is my job to do the ahs, but, so's, that we use as filler words along with the pauses. And I'll be doing that, as you can see, by throwing up my ahs. Now, hopefully, nobody gets so bad that this is what ends up happening. But for today, that's how we will keep track of our ahs. And I will give my report when asked to do so. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Johnny. And the next helper for this meeting is grammarian Carolina Ramirez. Please explain your role and how you're going to contribute to this meeting.
Andre, my role today is to highlight the good uses of language and count the time you use the phrase of the day, which is wipe the slate clean. And the meaning is to forget all the things that have happened or been done and start doing something again. To start again from the very beginning. So strive to use the phrase of the day. Back to you, Andre.
Thank you very much, Carolina. Wipe the slate clean. I'm the first one to say it. Please write that down. The more times you use it appropriately, then probably the more nice points you get. We'll see what happens. And the next helper I'm going to call is chat monitor, Dr. Sunny Fridge. Please tell us about your role and what you're going to do. You're muted, Sunny.
Let's wipe this slate clean. As chat monitor, I will facilitate the back channel communications through the chat monitor, the chat of this online meeting platform, and I will look at helpful, encouraging, and humorous posts throughout the meeting. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Sunny. Very concise and to the point explanation of your role. And please don't go away, because you are on a double duty today. As experienced Toastmaster, you've been voluntold, sometimes that happens, into a second role, and is watcher. Please tell us about that.
With pleasure. As watcher, I will focus on the visual portion of our online meeting space. I'm responsible for noticing the speakers as well as all meeting participants. So watch how you are coming out and about on our screen. And when called upon, I'll give a report highlighting exceptional and problematic visual items observed during the meeting. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sunny Fridge. Problematic visual items. All those powerful words, they just make me learn more.
Amen.
Thanks. And I'm on a double duty as well today as experienced Toastmaster. When we called upon, we should say yes. As our Toastmaster promised, when we all became members, when we called upon, yes, we can do it. And my second role is vote counter. As a vote counter, as you can probably guess, the clue is in the name of this role. I will be counting votes. So at the end of the first part of the meeting, prepared speeches, when all speakers qualified, please send me your votes directly. In old-fashioned way, you can choose my name on the chat box and send me your votes for the best speaker. The same for the table topics, and then the same for evaluation part. At the end of the meeting, I will report back to Toastmaster of the meeting and all to you with the winners, because we like to have winners. And we'll see who is going to be this time. Nah. Back to you, Mr. Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you, Andre. That was a wonderful introduction. I really enjoyed it, concise and straight to the point. Yes. Right. Now, the interesting and the main parts of the evening. No forgiveness to the experienced speakers. No forgiveness to the icebreaker speaker as well. And the first experienced speaker who has been preparing his speech for a while is Andrew Bern. Andrew Bern is a chartered member of our club since 2015. He served most of the roles at the club level, also area and division director and CGD role as well. And in his speech, and it's not to the timer, which is timed traditionally from 5 to 7 minutes, I present you Andrew Bern. You're muted, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Andre. I was told by Joni that she wanted to hear something about presentations. Normally that's a tech tip, but we're going to do this as an impromptu speech, 5 to 7 minutes. Many times, particularly in online clubs, one uses presentations visually as a way of getting your point across. In communication, you have verbal, you have visual, and if you can't hear, you have sign language. So there are many different ways of communicating. I'm going to focus in on presentations because most of us do that. You've seen already some examples that Andre is prone to use Prezi as his presentation mode of choice. But there are others to consider. You have on the Microsoft background, you have PowerPoint. On the Apple side, you have Keynote. On the Google side, you have Slides. So you have 3 right there. You also have Slides. Beside that, you have beautiful AI. You have Canva, C-A-N-V-A, that not only produces slides for you, but you can go into the Magic Canva, which is an AI component of it, and it will generate an entire lecture for you based upon the instructions you give it verbally. So those are the baseline ones. Now there's some other ones that you may or may not have heard about. You have OBS for doing your slides and presentations. You have Camtasia if you want to have a movie set up for your slides and do a presentation, or have that presentation within your presentation. There's another program that I've become partial to lately because of all the complexities of all the other programs, and that is Ahum, and that's MMHUHMM. So it's MMHMM. Why do I like that program? First, it's relatively simple. I don't have to worry about sharing my screen with the rest of the group. I can get right into my slides. When I'm doing the timer roll, I like it because I can go to my tray where I already have the 3 different colors listed, green, yellow, and red, and it becomes very, very simple to just knock that out and make sure that you can get your timing done correctly. The other thing is I can change my background just as easily. I can go from the Toastmasters to by the seashore to celebrating the holidays like Valentine's Day. Hope you all had great ones. To, making points like the possibilities that exist for all of you. And this makes it really simple. I'm talking about a half a second to get from one slide to another to get things going for you. But you also have the ability to bring in not just text like I did with this slide over here, where I said presentations. You can also bring in Giphies and bring in other kinds of animated activity that will add to your slide presentations. You also have the ability to record right from this screen here and then put that movie back into your slides. And this is very helpful if you want to educate someone on how to do a process, particularly newcomers that have just joined the club. And therefore, those are very useful. There's another program that I've just begun to work with that tracks all of your motions on the computer and allows you to play it back, and it highlights it. The other program I like is Snagit. Snagit is a program that allows you to capture everything that you're doing, and that allows you to really pump up what you're doing. If you want to go for images, you can just go into images like Google Images or the other images that are available on these slides, and you can bring those into your slide presentation very, very quickly. If you like using PowerPoint, the Aham has a very nice interface that allows you to take that presentation that you just did and just dump it into Aham, and there it goes. You know, it's something that's very simple to do. Same thing is true if you have a keynote or a slides presentation. You just click on that and drag it into the tray, and now you have your whole slide set up for your presentation. Those are some of the programs that I really like using in presentations. Autodate is another program that allows you to adjust your speaking. So if you're a person like Graham, who did broadcasting a lot or podcasting, you can go in with that program Autodate and literally go into the program and change your words, particularly if you have ums and ahs and things like that. You can literally go in and edit those things out. What I'm trying to say is presentations still is important. What's important is important that you are seen in the screen. Your presence in the screen is the most important thing. We want to see you, and that's what's important. And then you can bring on the other slides as you need them to accentuate a point. And that program makes it very easy. It's called Aham. And the one thing that we're not doing that we could be doing is as you go and set up your rooms for your meeting, one thing you could do is go into the back office and put in a movie. And that movie has to be 30 megabytes or 30 seconds. And what that will do is when someone comes into your room, and instead of just in the waiting room, you can turn it on so you have a presentation of what is this meeting all about, and encourage people to come in and welcome them. Another thing to do. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Wow, what an interesting presentation. And from what I've heard, it was impromptu. Wow, that was something. I think we are proud to have Andrew as a member of our club, you know, with that kind of impromptu. Great. It's nothing to forgive, nothing to forget. Thank you. And we moving on to the speaker number 2. And I have a pleasure to present Ruth-Ellen Danquah, who is doing Icebreaker, her very first speech in Engaging Humor, Level 2, Mastering Fundamentals. I can't wait for your speech, Ruth. Please take it away.
Thank you, Andy. The challenge with doing an icebreaker when you've been away from Toastmasters for so long is trying to figure out where you want to go. I went to so many different spaces, went to so many different thoughts, and I couldn't really center myself in a space of, yeah, nailed it. And so Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. Today, I'm going to share with you my icebreaker. It's going to be a bit messy, to be fair. It might be good. It might be terrible. Who knows? But I'm glad you're all on the journey with me. So I thought it'd be really good for you to maybe learn more about me. And so I created an acronym called ICE, which stands for inspiration, consistency, and elevation, which are the 3 different pieces, I guess, paths to an extent, that I have gone through to create this speech, and also give you a bit of background around me. Are you excited to hear it? I would like a hands up. Yeah, fantastic. So with that in mind, I started my Toastmaster journey around 2012, which gave me the inspiration to show up. I'm very much a person that is an introvert. I used to be an extrovert, probably pre-COVID. But something about being able to sit at home and not do anything, it was just amazing. And so I hope you can resonate with that, because there was something around the COVID, even though it wasn't great, no doubt it wasn't great, there were some benefits, right? And there's always opportunities in everything we can take away. And one of those benefits was the fact that I got to work from home. And so in 2012, obviously that wasn't COVID time, but I was doing the whole extrovert thing. I was showing up at my club and I was like, yeah, this is me, jazz hands, which was inspiring for some, but it was draining for me at the same time. And so now we're coming down back to the Toastmaster journey, which is consistency. I haven't been in a Toastmaster club for about a year. I want to get back to consistency. That word can trigger me, because for a very long time, it's been a challenge. It's been my Achilles heel. See, I'm neurodivergent. So one of my challenges with consistency is that I've got a great idea and I want to do it, then I do it, and then I stop doing it. And that is one of the biggest challenges for me. So when people say, oh, you're not consistent, and I'm like, yeah, and I cry in the corner thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I was. And so I have to make consistency sound easy, feel easy, be easy. And coming to Toastmasters online, even though it's at 12:45, beginning in London, stroke Preston, it feels hard at times, but I feel like the easiest path to success for me is to have a club that holds me accountable, a club that I can resonate with, and a club that takes me to new heights, because I get to learn from each and every single member. So that's consistency for me. Being able to show up in a consistent manner, not necessarily all the time, but consistency means defining it and redefining it for how it serves me. Because for a very long time, I beat myself up about it. Even though that's some of the challenges with my own neurodivergence. That doesn't mean I haven't got great gifts alongside those neurodivergent traits. It just means I also have to manage my life, my lifestyle. And so coming to Toastmasters online, Presenters Club helps me to do that, which takes me on to elevation. So elevation for me is, how am I going to go to that next level? How am I going to help other people to go to that next level? I work in a neurodivergent organization where we help lots of people in the workplace not only get a job, but also stay in work. If I'm able to communicate with them in a way that helps them develop their skills as a coach, as a trainer, then I'm able to elevate them in a way that's going to help to change their lives. So some may call it selfish, self-serving, probably. But I really want to be able to do that in a way that's inspirational, consistent, and helps to elevate others. I can't do that without having some tools as the foundational pieces. So that's the beginning part of me. And the reason why I actually chose humor is because if you can make somebody laugh, you can break down some of those barriers that come with those biases and judgment pieces when it comes to communication. For example, parts of my neurodivergence also means I can't always articulate my words perfectly. If I can make you laugh, then perhaps you'll forgive me in that, and we can wipe the slate clean when it comes to that. Thank you, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests.
Wow, Ruth. Well, thank you very much for your speech. You know, what I particularly like about starting a new project, starting a new path, as she said, you can wipe the slate clean and you can start all afresh, all new, and just tell about yourself to the club again and again and again, wiping the slate clean. You know, what a beautiful metaphor. And next speaker, I have a great pleasure to announce our great speaker, who is our guest speaker, meaning he's not a member of our club yet, and had a courage to show up and present his speech. I will introduce our guest speaker. His name is Jaison Wilson and his speech. But before I do that, I would like to ask Graham Carnes, who is our general evaluator, to explain a little bit more about what he is asking us to do. Please, Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Because Jaison is delivering a contest speech, and obviously he wants to get the best feedback he can so that he can do better at his next level of speaking. I got to say, I've never got past area with an international speech, so nothing but kudos for you today, Jaison. I have actually put into the chat the judges' ballot for the international speech contest. While you're watching Jaison's presentation, consider what the judges will be looking for, because I will be presenting an evaluation of Jaison not from my perspective, but from your perspective. I'll be running a round table evaluation so that we can give Jaison the best possible advice on where he did well and where he might improve. So that's what we'll be doing. It's in the chat. You can download it. It's a PDF. You don't have to fill it out, but just bear those criteria in mind when we're giving Jaison his evaluation.
Thank you, Graham. And now I would like to introduce, thanks. I would like to introduce speaker number 3, Jaison, who has been a part of the Mindful Communicators Family, Toastmaster Club, for 4 years. Toastmasters has been the key component in helping him find his voice in public speaking. His speech is 5 to 7 minutes. And let's welcome to the virtual lectern fellow Toastmaster Jaison Wilson with his contest speech entitled, Yes. The stage is yours.
A question has 2 sides. The person who responds, who has the power to say yes or no, and the person who asks the question, who's powerless on what the final answer will be. Isn't it scary, wondering how your future will move forward? Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, I was 21 years old, in college, no car, when I met the young lady that would become my happy ending. She was shy, whose quiet eyes would smile every time she laughed. A year before I met Jessica, a young lady in one of my classes actually started talking to me. I happened to mention that I didn't have a car, and that was the last conversation we ever had. Who you are on the inside is not the first thing people see. Jessica looked inside me. and saw we had similar values. I knew she was the one. It was fun to have someone that was easy to talk to. But I was scared to ask her on a date. My heart told me, you can't ask her on a date. All you have is the bus pass. I finally found the courage to ask when I was more afraid of a future of asking, what if? I wasn't expecting the answer she gave me. I don't date. I don't want to go through all the drama my friends went through with different guys. Do you promise me a life commitment? Okay. I don't have a car. We'd have to take the bus. She said yes. Honestly, I don't know what I was promising, but I was committed to this. And Jessica never liked the word dating, would tell her friends that we were just waiting to get married. After 5 years of not dating, marriage was the beginning of building a healthy relationship. Jessica wanted us to start eating healthy, would check all the ingredients of everything I bought. I'm the cook of the family. As an adult, you can buy any food you want. Would you want to miss out on all the fun? I'd make pancakes. Use the brand of syrup that I grew up with. Can I see the bottle? Don't you read the label? High fructose corn syrup. Sodium hexametaphosphate. Buy 100% maple, please. It's not that I didn't like eating healthy. Eating salads is not as fun as eating sweets, right? Jessica wanted us to get on the same team like we were with everything else. But my heart said, no, have fun. Eating a little sweet here and there is not going to hurt you. Eating sweets are better for you emotionally. Our family members struggled with high cholesterol. It wasn't fun for us watching them struggle with it. It took Jessica's caring heart to make me finally take care of mine. She would tell me, I'm happy we're on the same team again. I need you. I'm happy I picked the right team to be on. This year we're celebrating 30 years. Jessica found an article in the newspaper that made us both smile. Honey, listen to this. Married men live longer than single men. You need to thank me. I give you life. She does. Jessica taught me that a happy ending is worth living. And that whether you have a bus pass or an old eating habit that you're trying to give up, no can control how you move forward. No, you don't have the time. No, it costs too much. No, You've heard no too many times. No can control how you move forward. But don't let it keep you trapped as a passenger inside your own life. Let it give you the power to tell yourself, yes, you have the time. Yes, you're worth it. Your yes is the only one that matters. Be committed to you. Don't you deserve a happy ending? Mr. Toastmaster.
Oh, yes, that's definitely yes from me, Jaison. Thank you very much. That was a pleasure to watch you present. Thank you. And this concludes the main part of our meeting, prepared speeches. I would like to ask Mr. Timer, Graham, are all prepared speeches speakers qualified?
Yes, indeed. All three speakers tonight are eligible for the Best Speaker Award for the evening. They all spoke within their time period, or at least within 30 seconds, Grace.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And now please cast your votes for the best speaker. And how you do it, you can send me via chat a private message with your favorite speaker name. And I will announce results at the end of our meeting. Well, as I said, this concludes the main part of our meeting, and I'm about to hand over this virtual stage to our table topics master, Carolina Ramirez. Before, however, I do that, I would like to leave you with one more quote on forgiveness. And this quote is by Mahatma Gandhi. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Carolina, take it away.
Thank you, Andre. For this section, you have between 1 and 2 minutes to answer questions about forgiveness. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, the first question. Can forgiveness help rebuild trust in a relationship? Why or why not? Can forgiveness help rebuild trust in a relationship? And this question goes to Mike, if you have some minutes to be here. More minutes to be here. You are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Could you repeat the question for me?
Sure. The question says, can forgiveness help rebuild trust in a relationship?
Thank you, Madam Topic Master, for that question. Can forgiveness build or rebuild trust in a relationship? Madam Topic Master, I believe you're touching on something that is, I consider one of the deepest parts of my life lessons, and that is forgiveness. Forgiveness can not only cause one to repair and regain trust, it's essential in order to authentically trust and receive trust. One of my best speeches that I've developed is about forgiveness. And it is about the moment I forgave my father at 30 years old. And in that moment, I forgave my father for the lifetime of things that I should not have held him responsible for anyway. I became a new person because I authentically, genuinely forgave him. I hadn't seen him but once between 10 years old and 30 years old. And there I was with my father. And I forgave him in a unique way. I let him know that I was sorry. I apologized for holding all of this against him, and that he owed me no apology whatsoever because it was all on me. And I thanked him for giving me life, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even exist. So I really appreciate this question, Madam Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Mike. That was very powerful. Next question. How does forgiveness differ from simply forgetting or ignoring someone's wrongdoings? How does forgiveness differ from simply forgetting or ignoring someone's wrongdoings? And this question goes to, we have a guest, Jasmine. Are you there?
Yes, hi.
Hi, would you like to answer the question?
Sure. Can you please just repeat it very quickly?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
How does forgiveness differ from simply forgetting or ignoring someone's wrongdoings?
I believe that forgiveness acknowledges that there was a problem to begin with, so confirmatory of the problem rather than ignoring it. By acknowledging the problem, one can get to the root of the issue. I believe that is what differentiates forgiveness from simply walking away or forgetting that a problem exists.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. Would you like to continue? For 50 seconds?
That's a very deep question, and
yes, I know.
I'm struggling to come up with a few extra perspectives, but I think that there is more closure in forgiving, because forgetting a problem or forgetting that the issue exists, one could walk away not feeling the closure or not having that sense of acknowledging the problem, and also letting the other party know that there is an issue and that I don't validate walking away from a valid problem, so you could have closure on both ends. And that's all I have. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
Last question. What advice would you give to someone who is struggling to forgive someone else? What advice would you give to someone who is struggling to forgive someone else? And this question goes to, we have another guest, Mitesh. Rahendra, are you there?
Yes. So
would you like to answer the question?
Yes, please. So forgiveness is a great value and a virtue. I think to forgive someone is an act of generosity, a big generosity, because you are letting go of their mistakes and evading that from your mind completely, which helps you clear lot of clutter in your mind. Yeah, so if you can suggest your personal experience while you have forgiven someone, to a person who is not forgiving at all times. So I think we are not perfect and perfect souls, so we do tend to our mistakes. So I would suggest him to forgive and experience the bliss inside our mind and to clear the clutter. Um, that is what I would suggest him to try out once and see how he or she goes. Over to you, topic master.
Thank you very much, Mitesh. Mr. Timer, are all the speakers qualified for voting for
So that's a
the...
how long is it? That's a how long is a piece of string question, Topics Master. Mike spoke for 2 minutes 6, so he's clearly qualified. Mitesh spoke for 1 minute 17, so he's clearly qualified. Yasmin initially only spoke for 36 seconds, which means that she wouldn't be qualified. But with a little prompting, she went to 1 minute. Actually, should have read 1 minute 07. So yes, I say that she would be qualified anyway, and so I think all three should be eligible for vote for best topics of the evening. So Mike, Yasmin, and Mitesh.
Thank you very much.
It was just a long pause.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, we have a long evaluation portion of the meeting ahead. So, Mr. Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you very much, Carolina. And thank you for keeping an eye on time, because time is very, very important at Toastmasters. So we don't steal time from each other. I'm just going to pass it on straight to Graham, who is our general evaluator and will be leading the exciting part of evaluation for tonight. Take it away, Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I'm sorry, I had so many windows open, I just had to try and find the agenda so I can see exactly where I am. I think we're all Toastmasters here, so I'm not going to belabor the point, but I genuinely believe that the most important part of a Toastmasters meeting is the evaluations. Standing out here, whether in a virtual space or in a face-to-face environment, and flapping our gums is all well and good. But if we don't get feedback, if we don't get suggestions, not only to improve, but on what we did well and should continue to do, then we might as well not be here. So I'm really pleased to be your general evaluator tonight. Our first evaluator, evaluating obviously, our first speech is going to be David Carr. So for a period of 1 to 3 minutes, will you please welcome Evaluator 1, David Carr. No, you're Evaluator 2. That says on the agenda.
Joni is Evaluator 1. Or
I have Joni thinks she's Evaluator 2. You think you're Evaluator 2.
I'm good with evaluating, Andy.
Good. In that case, hang on. Andy was speaker 2. Let me see. This is where we get a little confused. So, speaker 1 was Andy. You're right to evaluate, Andy. Go for it, Joni Laidlaw. Yay!
Distinguished Toastmaster Andrew Bern. Now, because my name was shouted out in that speech, I feel like that one was made specially for me, but don't think I'm going to go easy on you just because I'm getting my way. We hold people accountable around here. It was an impromptu speech, but I liked your pace and your tone and the quantity of information that was there. Now, as someone who hyperfixates and shares a lot of information, sometimes what happens is when we do that, it becomes so overwhelming because we keep throwing out all of this information. What I liked was, even though you gave us so many references, you gave us so many references while giving us a summary, just a little synopsis of what it could do, and hence still gave each thing an important reference, which is always important in tech. You didn't take for granted that because we were in an online medium, that we all knew what Canva was and what was and the Microsoft. You explained, and quite succinctly, may I add, how we could use it. Now, normally I would say you can wipe the slate clean of using certain analogies and acronyms whenever I'm doing this, but I didn't get the chance because you didn't put any there. I didn't hear any jargon, which is something that we always make the mistake of falling into whenever we're discussing any form of, and here I'm about to do it, tech. Instead of saying tech, you spelled it out. You said technology. You didn't take for granted that because you knew, and we're online presenters, we're supposed to know that we knew. And that is very important when sharing information, especially technical information. How would I suggest that you make this better? I thought you demonstrated the backgrounds, but to me, Zoom can do that. I would have preferred if you incorporated the slide or shared your screen to actually show me the program. Sometimes it's not easy to have all of those open. Can I tell you how many times my computer freezes? So in this case, it would be good to have it as a slide. Little snippets and screenshots of the reference from each of the programs would help me to see. I always say there are two types of knowledge. There is practical and there's theoretical. School has put us in the theoretical thought so I can envision and I can see and I can read it. But being online has taught me that I might be able to understand it in theory. Put me on the program and ask me to do it, it's not going to work. But overall, I really enjoyed your speech. I have a few of those that I want to look out for, and I want you to put the names of some of them in the chat because I really want to check them out. Back to you, our general evaluator.
Thank you, Joni, for that evaluation. Our second evaluator, I thought I'd hit the blue button there. Our second evaluator this evening is David Carr, and he's evaluating Ruth-Ellen's presentation. So please welcome David Carr.
All right. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Joni, for being flexible enough to switch. I realized that I screwed up. I was thinking everybody else was screwing up. But I am still happy that I get a chance to seize the opportunity of being Ruth-Ellen's evaluator. I really enjoyed how she introduced herself, saying this is might be good, might be bad, it's probably going to be messy. You don't want to talk yourself down too much, but in a way, I think you kind of got the audience on your side because we've always given something that we thought might be a little bit messy. Of course, you told us that it might be messy, and then you hit us with an acronym. You obviously had thought this through. That's a great organizational technique that a lot of good speakers use, and I usually forget to use, but you used it well. You not only introduced the concept of ICE, inspiration, consistency, and elevation at the beginning, but you wrapped around to it at the end. Again, another strong organizational technique. You told us along the way about your reasons for choosing the humor path so that people can laugh along with you. I don't have a ton of stuff to tell you about what you could have done better, but I've got a couple of things. One was when you came on camera, right away I was thinking, well, she hasn't set herself up with necessarily the best background. We're seeing her sort of in a corner with this door in the background. And then it started shaking, or at least it looked like it was shaking. I envisioned either that there was a dog or a child on the other side of the door trying to get in, who was like rattling the door, or maybe you had your setup on a wobbly table and the webcam was shaking around. So whatever that was, you might want to pay some attention to that. You also introduced us to your background of working in the neurodivergent field, catering to those folks and having that background yourself. I actually wondered whether you should have taken a moment to explain what that meant, because it's become a pretty common term in the workplace in a lot of different contexts. That doesn't necessarily mean that people may have heard it, they may not understand what it means. And so maybe just taking a moment with that might have been useful. But I love the fact that you're looking for a club that's going to hold you accountable and that you think you can learn from. I hope you found that here, and we're going to work very hard to make sure that you do find that here. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, David, for that evaluation. I'll now go ahead and announce that both David and Joni are eligible to get the Best Evaluator Award for this evening. David was 307. Joni, I wrote it down, I thought, but it does not appear to be in where I wrote it down. So I know that you were just after the 3 minutes, so that's fine. So both of our evaluators are eligible. So please feel free to send your vote for Best Evaluator to Andre, who is our vote counter for this evening. Now we're going to do something a little different, and that is provide an evaluation for Jaison. And the evaluation is going to be a round table evaluation, but I would draw your attention to, as I suggested before, these are the criteria by which Jaison will be judged. Now, in Toastmasters, I often say when we're talking about evaluation that we don't criticize, we don't judge. Well, we do in competitions. And so bear these in mind when you are coming up with your suggestions for both commendation and recommendation for Jaison. And I'm going to just ask you to stick a hand up, and I will ask you to give your contribution. So I can see a hand there from Andrew. Andrew? You're still muted.
I know, have to get to my mute button. I'm using 3 screens, so it's a little challenging. All right. I'm going to try to be as quick and hit on the points as possible. Thank you. I enjoyed your speech. It was a great time. Speech development was good. We started at the beginning and you took us through until you got married. The speech was effective for what you were trying to get along. You had a message that meant something and you repeated it. Speech value had value to anybody that has ever dated, has ever approached that. Physical, I like the fact that you took time and the care to dress up, wear a tie, and wear a special kind of mic that allowed us to hear you very clearly. Your speech was clear, well enunciated, your voice came through well, and you had appropriate pauses. I like your facial expressions. I can't do that. When I smile, you don't see all my teeth as you do, but I enjoyed your attempts at your gestures. You might look less to the right. You were looking as if your fiance was there, but you spent a lot of time there. So I was just, to me, that didn't work well. It's okay to do it once or twice, but you kept staring at her. Any event, I would give you high marks. I think you did a great job, good context. Thank you very much for your speech.
Thank you, Andrew. We have hands up from Mike Woodall. Your contribution, if you would, Mike, and if we can keep these fairly short because we will run out of time otherwise.
Thank you. I really enjoyed your speech. I thought it was a classic Toastmasters competition speech. Quickly, I think I agree with Graham when you were staring at Jessica a little too much. However, I like it, but not as much. But your rhythm was off. You would look over to her and you would pause, and the pause was just too long. And then you would say, Jessica. If you could go like Jessica as you are looking over, and that's all you need, and then come back to the audience. When you're looking at the audience, you're looking at camera, your smile is infectious, and that's where you need to be. The other thing is your background. I love the white background. You improvised with a white sheet, it looked like. If you're going to do that, make it taut, because you can see where the wrinkles are and things like that. The background, you're going to be competing with people with perfect backgrounds. So just tighten that sheet up where it doesn't look like it's wrinkled or anything. And I think I'm going to stop there and allow other people. I thought it was an excellent speech. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you, Mike. Ruth-Ellen, contribution from you?
I knew she was the one. When you said that line, amazing. It was the tonality of it, the vocal variety of it. It really struck a chord. Love that, love that, love that. Also, I love the speech value when you was describing your voice. The value of it was the voice of your wife. It's just like, it made me chuckle. It made me think, okay, there's another person in the room here. I also liked your facial expressions. I love that you pointed left to signal past and right to signal future. And I thought that was a good touch, just in terms of when every time you talked about what Jessica said and where you wanted to go, it was very much using those gestures. And I like that touch. So what could be done better? I think having that clear purpose at the beginning, you talked about, no, and perhaps sort of bringing in the message of, you can get your happy ending with this bus pass. I don't know. It just feels like there's a structure piece that could be included just to enhance and elevate your speech even much more. I love that you came here with that massive smile that has brightened up probably the world. And I think you just been able to share with us your story, but in a way that resonates with many, but just tighten it up just in the sense of, what is the universal message here for everyone that you can say at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end, so that we can all follow along. Thank you for your speech.
Thank you. David, do you have anything specific to contribute?
Yeah.
Go for it.
The great story, well told. The voice that you did for your wife was a distraction for me. And I don't know whether I don't know your wife, obviously. I don't know if she has a high voice, but your voice came across as high and squeaky, and maybe see if you can moderate. I mean, it's an advanced technique to do that, moderate that kind of dialogue where you're playing both parts. So I appreciate that it's difficult, and I'm not saying that I could do better, but something to think about.
Thank you, David. All right, very briefly, I hope that, Jaison, you found some value from the contributions here. If I can make a couple as general evaluator, Mike was correct, I think, that the timing was slightly off. The pauses were more than pregnant. They were fully fecund. So try and tighten that up just a little bit. One observation I would make, and this may be a cultural thing, and it may just be that I'm either a dirty old man or a smutty young boy, whichever it is, but when you say everybody deserves a happy ending, that's got ramifications for a significant percentage of the male population that you probably don't want to have being as part of your speech. So everybody deserves to be happy rather than to have a happy ending. If you don't know what a happy ending is, I'm not going to go into it, but you'll get my point. I think that the speech has the bones of being a great speech with the suggestions that have been made. Is this going to be delivered online or face-to-face at I'm assuming it's going to be at Division? You're still muted, by the way.
My next competition coming up is area. So they haven't told us yet if it's going to be in person or online.
Yeah, this will work really well face-to-face. If it's going to be online, take Mike's suggestion and make sure that the background is taught, or that you choose a different background. But no, really well done. I hope it's been of some value to you, and thank you for coming along and being brave enough to speak in front of it, because we've all done speeches at club where, we know the people, but when you're doing it with a completely different audience, people that you've never spoken to before, takes a certain amount of bravery. Thank you for that. I'll move on now because we are running out of time. So it's time now to move to our functionary reports. Do we have anything from the grammarian, for example? Who was our grammarian today? That was Carolina.
Yes. Those who use the phrase of the day, Sunny, Ruth-Ellen, Johnny, congratulations to them. I never used the word of the day, so I wish I could wipe the slate clean and start using it next meetings. 3 powerful phrases that I would like to highlight. Ruth-Ellen, I want to get back to consistency. Jaison, be committed to you. And Mike, I thanked him for giving me life. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Carolina, for your grammarian's report. Looking at the watcher and chat from Dr. Sunny.
Thank you, Graham. Great tip, David, sharing your screen and providing valuable explanations, especially for those of us who don't know where everything is on the website. Thank you very much. Background, Andrew Bern, you shared the various backgrounds that we can use. I love that. Speaking of body language, our guest speaker, Jaison, used gestures to enhance his message of saying yes to a happy ending. And virtual backgrounds, Mike Woodall, you had a great Toastmasters background earlier, and even your background right now, love it, but I can't see all of it. As far as your first background, it was backward. And one way you can fix that is if you go to your video and do the up arrow and uncheck mirror video, see if that works, and it should turn that Toastmasters background correctly. As far as chat monitor, encouraging, helpful, and humorous, encouraging, welcoming guests. It's always great when we welcome our new guests and say hello to them, as well as welcoming others back. Helpful, Graham, Karen, sharing that PDF on the international speech contest so that we could better give evaluation to guest speaker Jaison. Everyone talked about Jaison's background as well. Very helpful. Even little touches can help you present better. And humorous at 8:32 p.m. Graham shared, was it 8:32? I think it's 8:32 this time. Graham shared the link to a YouTube video we talked earlier. I'm going to Barbados, and he says that reminds him of typically tropical Barbados. Thank you. That's going to be something I will look at after this meeting. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Dr. Sunny. That was a great and comprehensive watcher and chat monitors report. I thank you for those. The song, by the way, will get stuck in your head. I warn you of that. Now, the R counter, Joni.
Thank you, RGE. We had a lot of crutch words today, maybe because everybody wanted to give me something to do, so thank you. Andre and Sunny liked Anne. Graham and Ruth-Ellen were so. Yasmin and Ritesh, not used to hearing that one. Mike had and so. But the persons who gave me the most to do today, and the ones I appreciate the most because I celebrate 2 Wizards of Oz, David Carr and Andrew Bern. Back to
Thank you, Joni.
Evaluator.
Thank you, Joni, for the R counters report. I still hate R counter, but I understand. It actually works. Yahoo sucks. All right. Now, what do I need to do as General Evaluator? I need to say that I thought it was a good meeting. I thought that everything went really well. I was really, really appreciative of hearing 3 fine quality speeches tonight. And a great table topic session. I think everything went really well. I thank everybody for your contributions. I'll now hand control back to the Toastmaster of the day to find out who was our best speaker and our best evaluator and our best table topics. And then he can hand it back to the president to close out the meeting.
Thank you, Graham. And we have winners for today. So, best evaluator, David Carr. Please give him a round of applause. Best table topics, Mike Woodall. And the best speaker, drum roll, goes to Ruth-Ellen. Congratulations, Ruth-Ellen, for being the best speaker. And well, I would like to wrap up this meeting with the quote I posted in the chat. Only the brave know how to forgive. A coward never forgave. It is not in his nature. So let's be brave. And I hand over this meeting to our president, David Carr.
All right. Thank you, Andre, for leading a great meeting. Thank you, Joni, for crowning me as Wizard of Oz once again. I like to think I've learned something in Toastmasters, but not that necessarily. I would like to ask for some feedback from our guests, starting with Jaison. Of course, the first question I have for you, Jaison, is how soon are we going to see you back here? It was great. You came here to practice your speech, but we want to see you again. Will we see you again?
I'll come back again. This was
Okay,
a lot of
cool.
fun.
And what were
Well,
any impressions of the club?
what I really enjoyed it. I mean, this is not really I guess a knock on other Toastmaster groups, but I guess in some ways it is. You're very organized in terms of trying to make sure that your meeting flows very smoothly, that all the roles are they're accounted for, that everybody is given the proper time to do the jobs that they have to do. But it's very professionally handled. And I think that's very important when you invite new people, when new people come to your club. This is the impression that they're going to get of the kind of club that you have. And you give a great impression, not only with, like I said, your organization, but the quality of the feedback that you're giving, the idea that you care about everybody doing well within whatever positions they have. So it's an obvious thing that I saw immediately from the beginning, even before the meeting started. So I think you're doing a very professional job conducting the meeting.
All
Which
right.
is sometimes it's not, like you said, sometimes it's hard when people don't show up and you're trying to do everything, but it's amazing that you can sit there and say, yeah, we're struggling, but we're not gonna let you see it. So
Well, I think we let you see some of it, but it always amazes me that when people say we're so organized, and I feel like, everything's going wrong. But anyways, so congratulations to all our club members for conveying an impression of organization, even when it's not where we ideally would love it to be. Yasmin, can I ask you to unmute and maybe give us a little bit of feedback as well?
Yes, absolutely. I really appreciated the engagement of everyone in the group because I think in meetings it's very easy for guests and people who may not know what's going on to kind of get lost and not feel as engaged. And I certainly didn't feel that way. And just to echo what sorry, all the uhs, I'm in trouble. Just to echo what Jaison said, I think that the meeting agenda was very well planned. A lot of things coming into the meeting that I wasn't really sure about were explained very comprehensively in the meeting. And so I really appreciated that because, I thought, well, what does this person do? What's that person's role? It definitely makes me feel more comfortable in the future volunteering for roles that I have no question about what that role entails. So I really did appreciate that. Overall, the engagement, definitely a plus for me.
All right, excellent. And Mitesh, can we also get a little bit of feedback from you? You've been here a
Yes,
couple times.
I think the meeting was smoothly run today. I had no specific negative feedback for today's meeting, tonight's, I mean, according to US. Thank you.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. Let's see, we are a few minutes past the top of the hour. Anybody needs to drop off. I think I'm actually not going to stay on too much longer. I don't know whether other people can stay on and chat, but any other business that we should discuss or announcements or?